Are you being turned into an NPC, or are you worried that you might be turning into one? Well, let's find out in this video who's actually becoming an NPC and who's not. So, let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Striking Talks channel, and I'm your host, The Striker, and in this video we're going to be investigating the mystery of who's actually being turned into an NPC, what you can do about it, and who's actually not an NPC. So if we wanted to just diffuse this whole idea completely, we can just leave it up to the concept of free will. You know, if there's free will in society, then everybody has some main characterness in them and they're somewhat in control of their actions. But if free will is not real, which it very well could not be real, then everybody is an NPC and nobody is in control of anything that they want to do. And we're just succumbing to, I don't know, some power or nature or whatever it is, but nobody is in control of their actions and there just aren't any main characters. But for the sake of entertainment, let's interact with this idea of being an NPC. So through my personal experiences, what is one place that I'm unfortunately seeing a lot of NPCs? Well, I would have to say college. One of my biggest fears getting out of college is the idea that I could just turn into an NPC who's just some side character in this world, succumbing to another company and just drowning in the workforce. And I feel like this is the reality that is happening to some people, not everyone, but some people are going through this reality. You know, every time I go to the career fairs and I just see lines and lines of all sorts of people just like desperately looking for a job. Not everybody. You know, most people just want to look for a job because that's just what they want. But there's some people who are just super desperate and it's their life goal to just get a job at a certain company. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, and many of them are actually very noble goals. But it's like, is that it? You just want to succumb to a company and another power and you just live life as a commoner? Or do you want to, I don't know, start your own company, start some sort of initiative and try to move yourself all the way up to the top and try to become more main characterness so you're in control of things? And that leads me to another idea that took me some time to realize, that everybody has different standards of what they're actually trying to get out of life. You know, there's some people who just want to climb all the way up to the top. You know, you hear about people who want to be famous, and being famous is not for everybody. You know, there's some people who just want to climb up to the top and they want to become super famous. And most people are fine just doing their everyday jobs. You know, some people, they might work in a factory and that's it. You know, they're happy, they're living their day-to-day lives. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing good with that either, I would say. They're just living their life. And I also want to make the distinction that fame and power is also not the same thing as being an NPC. You know, you could be a crazy celebrity all the way up at the top, and you could still be very much an NPC who just got up there because they were just controlled and followed a main character around. And you could also have people who are very main character-like, but they're still just an ordinary commoner, you know? Maybe they have the potential to reach the top, but they're just not up there. Of course, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with college, you know? You obviously do gain a lot of skills and you become very much knowledgeable, but sometimes I wonder when people talk about how college just prepares you for the workforce and how to become a good employer, you know, is college just straight up turning people into NPCs, while the main characters, a lot of times they also go to college, but they're just able to think one step ahead and overcome that mindset. You know, they're not in college just to look for a job and try to get into positions. You know, maybe they're looking one step ahead, they want to actually start something. We also wonder about different levels of commoners. You know, when you meet somebody, what are they going through from their point of view? And do they also have, you know, a desire to reach the top or be all the way up there? You know, when I said there's different levels of commoners, you know, you have people like factory workers who just, you know, live their life, 9-to-5 job, and some of them are happy, some of them are not. And then you might have somebody who's, I don't know, the senior engineer of a huge company, you know. It's not enough to get them famous and be all the way up at the top, but they're still, you know, doing pretty well. I don't know if people like them would be considered NPCs because they're still working under a company, you know. They probably started at the bottom and worked their way all the way up to the top. You know, they're not the CEO or somebody that's on the board of the company, but they're also not all the way at the bottom. So what would I categorize somebody like that? Maybe it's just a more advanced NPC, you know, someone who's not just completely out of control at the bottom and they've actually advanced themselves all the way up to the top. But at the same time, because they're a commoner, in quotes, I'm going to say, they're still not maybe a fully main character. But then that introduces a new question. Where do you divide the line between NPC and non-NPC? Where do you divide the line between famous and not famous? You know, there's some people and some celebrities who you can argue are like extremely famous, you know, like super popular actors, super popular, you know, scientists or political figures, like the president of the country would be all the way in that category. But then you've got like minor celebrities, which are maybe like smaller actors, you know, smaller scientists. Not everybody knows them, but they're still pretty known. And then you just move down the hierarchy. So where would you divide the line between who's an NPC and who's not an NPC in that category? Where do you divide the line between who's famous and who's not famous? And even then, like I said earlier, being famous and being an NPC is not the same thing. You can be famous and still be an NPC, and you can be not famous and still be a main character who might be going through some sort of, I don't know, hero's journey like thing like you see in all those books, where they're actually trying to improve and maybe reach some sort of glory. All in all, I find this to be a somewhat disturbing, but also a somewhat interesting topic to investigate. You know, I obviously don't want to end up as an NPC, and I'm sure many of you guys also don't want to end up as an NPC. The thing is, if being an NPC and being a main character is correlated with being at the top or not being at the top, you know, it's not one-to-one, you know, it doesn't have to be about your actual status, it can be more about your mindset as well. Not everybody can get there. There's going to be a number of us who fall flat on their faces and don't end up as a main character. Maybe we're just an NPC. Or maybe it has nothing to do with failure. Maybe failure is part of the journey. But there's some people who just maybe don't grow at all, and that's what makes you an NPC. Versus the people who actually fail and grow are the main characters. But the thing is, given the concept of an NPC, I don't think there's room for everybody to actually become a main character. Some of us will unfortunately have to become an NPC. You know, in order to have a main character, you need to have supporting characters that can help them along their journey. In order to have a CEO, you need to have workers working under them. A company can only exist as long as there's people to keep it propagating and going and making money so it's profitable. So, who's going to get turned into an NPC and who's not? Well, I guess that's what we're going to find out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw today, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, turn on those notifications, and maybe leave a comment down below. Do you think you're going to get turned into an NPC? Or what are your thoughts on this issue? Regardless, have a great day, folks, and peace out.